Good morning, welcome to a morning outlook on Wednesday, the 2nd of August. So looking at the euro dollar, and yesterday, well, failed to make a new high yesterday. And put a bearish arami in on a daily candle here. However, there's where it's held and the way it's looking overnight through this Asian session, it did put in a couple of dojis, a weak sort of stuff, but it's more weak stuff towards its lower point, towards those lows there. A real indecisive market effectively. This morning at the moment it's pushing up. Will it break the highs? And that's probably the bigger question. If it can break the highs, well, it's possible. It's possible it will continue in that upward trend. There's little doubt at the moment that there's dollar weakness and some of the effects and the global tensions that are going on that could cause further dollar weakness. But of course, we've got some technical weakness in the market from the bearish arami, for example. We'll see whether that prevails, and we see a breakdown. Now, for me to be looking at it on the short side, really, I mean, this is quite a consolidated market. As we're looking at it on this hourly chart, would like to see that hourly 50 broken, and maybe would look down then. I mean, previous lows are so close to that, it wouldn't be a target for me, but possibly be looking for a bigger target, leaving well, we've got both a weekly and a monthly pivot below, so there's some reasonable size sort of things to go for, maybe on a more swing basis over the next day or two. So there's a possibility if it does start breaking down, if it starts popping again and pushing through, it breaks through yesterday's high as well, there may be a little bit of a butterfly sort of pattern, although it's very messy with the hourlies here, which could cause weakness, but I'd be looking at it breaking the previous highs from Monday there. We've seen if it could break those highs. If it starts breaking those highs, well, already, as I said, on the weekly, we've pushed above the weekly 200. Looking at the sort of next sort of round number above us, I wonder if the 1.2 will get hit. So there's a possibility in terms of target-wise to the upside if it did get a wiggle on. However, it's certainly, as I say, it's not having a dash at the moment. The pound did a bit better yesterday than the euro, but still ended up in a bit of a doji, which is again a sign of weakness. So we've got weak signal on the euro, weak signal on the pound at the moment. However, again, as I say, it sits in the back of my mind about the weak dollar, and well, certainly looking this morning at the moment, it looks like it's trying to put in a bit of a foundation here, which could turn into a bigger move to the upside. We're just below the daily pivot at the moment. If it starts breaking above that, I may be getting a bit more bullish on this market and look for a move back up to the R1, yesterday's highs, maybe further. If on the other hand, again, my preference, I mean, there's so much horizontal support sitting around the weekly pivot there, that green dotted line. If it starts breaking through that, it's an R1 pivot. If it starts breaking back down through that, and maybe the 50 would be looking on the short side, maybe for a bit more of a move again. Just with the euro, looking at the weekly pivots and the monthly pivots, which are sitting below, that may be a biggish ask though at the moment. So we'll just, as I say, need to sit out a little bit here on the sidelines. There's weak signs on the bigger picture, but maybe tremors of a move on the shorter time. Now the dollar yen, this is just on the daily point of view. It's just run back into that daily 8 moving average, and so far had a reaction to that. Again, it's got targets to the upside. If it starts pushing on through that 50 again, you've got the weekly and monthly pivots. They tend to get hit with a reasonably good probability. However, it's sitting here at the moment. It's almost putting a shooting star in on the 4-hourly. Potentially, if this rolls over, then really the easiest route on this market, looking at it at the moment, is to the downside. So shorts would make more sense. However, you look at it on this hourly, and it's just got this sort of curling bottom there. It sort of, well, it certainly did put a divergence of sorts across those lows there, that pin bottom there. sort of spinning top, more candle, but certainly look at the size of the little tiny body there. It's certainly an indecision. It's spiked through, probably taking out previous stops there, but closed back within. It's a case of now whether it can maintain this movement up. If it starts selling off, breaking through the 60-minute 8, well, maybe it'll roll over. Hasn't yet caught the daily pivot, so there is that possibility it'll roll down to there. For the upside, it's a bit difficult. It's already had a decent bit of range this morning. In fact, the range is almost as much as we saw yesterday. But if it does start pushing up, it could run back towards the weekly pivot, monthly pivots above. So that's the dollar yen, Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar's starting to get a bit messy. It has been sitting here consolidating a little bit with a spike up last week, but well, we had a bit more of an attempted spike yesterday, but sold off strongly. It's looking to me quite messy on this 4-hourly point of view. As I say, it spiked up first thing through the Asian session on Monday, and well, since then it's just, if anything, getting a bit of a trend to the downside. It may be a sort of a week of these pairs. It's already gone through its weekly pivot. Look at, as I say, there's the monthly pivot below. Perhaps if it starts rolling from where we are here, we could see a bigger or continuation move to the downside, a bit more of a correction. It's bitty as anything, or has been as bitty as anything on Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Well, as I say, spiked up, pulled back here, but there is an untouched daily pivot above, so maybe if it breaks the 60-20 ones there, it's got the chance to push up towards that sort of area. But looking very, as I say, bitty, and as long as these markets stay bitty, I'm not going to be trying to trade them. Canadian dollar, that has given away a little bit more. We've seen oil roll over a little bit. In fact, let's just bring the oil price in there. Just pull back a little bit to that sort of 48.70, 48.80 area, but it's still sitting close to the $50. Ran into $50 for the first time for a couple of months yesterday. It has done sort of very soft, but a bit of a Gartley pattern here, which may see a bigger correction in it. The way it's looking at the moment, it's probably not it's certainly not a pure Gartley pattern here. It's got pushed up a bit higher on this move here, but it may just want to roll over a little bit more. It's still got the weekly, monthly pivots underneath, so that may put so we may see a bit more correction there. So moving back to the Canadian dollar. If that correction occurs, it could make it an easier route back up towards the monthly pivot. We're right back in the middle of this sort of regression trend that we've sort of been seeing since early May. And there we go. On the shorter time frames, not too far now. It's already through its weekly R1, pushing up towards the R2, and that, as I say, monthly pivot that's sitting above us. That may not happen this week, but we'll see. When you start bringing it down to the 60-minute time frame, though, it does look like a bit toppy where it sits at the moment. And again, it's been bitty for the last couple of days. Difficult to sort of get decent trades in. It may just roll over through that 8 at some point, run back towards the daily. We'll see. But at the moment, it's probably erring more upside than anything else. It has started confirming, has it actually hasn't, it just has confirmed that slightly higher low there on the bigger picture there. So maybe it has a bit more legs in it, but it's tight. It's certainly a tight one. May just be a fraction overlap on that prior high, which could see it maybe give in a bit more game and roll over down to the downside. Up until now, for me, it's been a downside only trade, but there is the possibility this one could push on. Right, that's pretty much it. News-wise today, we got the UK construction PMI. It's a slightly lower grade move, if we or effect on the market generally, but and needless to say, if it comes in weak, it will probably have an effect on the pound at the moment. We've got the ADP data coming out at 1:15. Again, it seems to have a little bit more effect on the market again in the last few months, so we'll be watching that. and then there's crude oil inventories at 3:30 this afternoon. So three figures there that could move the markets: one for the pound, a couple, and then dollar-backed ones, and certainly the Canadian dollar with the crude oil. Okay, have a great day. Bye for now.